Stephen Breach, would the screw job have been any different if you and Hall would have been there? What would your last phone call from Triple H or what was your last phone call from Triple H or Shawn like? How'd you find out? Was it live? Did you hear about it before you could see it? Okay, all Montreal Screwjob related questions. Let's take the first part. Would it have been any different if you and Hall were there?
No.
Because since Paul knew, and obviously Shawn knew, you two would have known as well.
Oh, yeah.
Would you have interceded in any way? Tried to convince anybody not to do it? Tell Bret to drop it?
No, our alliance would have been with Shawn.
And you didn't have any business aversion to having it done that way?
Like I said, it was click. It was
Okay.
who had each other's back. Scott and I would have had Shawn's back.
Fernham Schnavitz III Jr.
We got the heat from Bret's wife anyway.
You did?
Oh yeah, she said, "Fuck you." Basically, "Fuck you." Even though you're not there, we know you were, and she had every reason to say that because even though we weren't there, we were. You know, like.
Huh. Right. But prior, I mean,
I don't even remember. I don't ever remember even having to ask them if they were in on it. Like that, we didn't even have that conversation. Like,
Paul, what'd you say when Vince told you what was going to happen?
No, it was like when I saw it, and I saw how quick Shawn got out of the fucking ring with the belt. If you weren't a part of it, you would have been like, "What? What's going on?" You'd been like the kid on A Few Good Men. Hell? We did wrong, man. What do you mean we got to get out of the Marines? So, yeah, no, I as soon as I saw how he got out, man, oh man. But Vince did. I mean, with the story that was told is Vince did him a solid to get him as much money as possible to go to the other company.
I always stood. I had some questions as to how it went down, but the one thing I always said, despite anything, Bret's the son of a promoter who should know when a promoter wants his belt back, it goes back. And that's it. It surprised me that Bret got in the way of business.
I look at it in Bret's way as all the time he put into that company. Like all the time that he put into that company, coming all the way from Calgary.
No doubt.
Working that many days that when you came to an agreement of doing the favor, it's like when I left, I told Vince I'd do what favors he wanted. He said Warrior. I said no. Like I'm not doing him a favor. He wasn't, to me, he wasn't one of the boys. It's like I'm not. I'll put Mark over fucking 350. I'll put him over from now until I leave everywhere, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
Or took a kick from Shawn at the house shows. I was a heel. It didn't matter. But if I had the belt and I was going to leave, and it just so happened that we had a pay-per-view in Detroit, I'm not too sure I want to lose in my hometown. I would have done it, but I'm not like I didn't. Number one, I wasn't born into this business. And then Tamara watches it and she listens to the guys talk. And she goes, "Why aren't you like them? What makes you different than them?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "Is it because when you grew up, you wanted to be a basketball player and they wanted to be wrestlers?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "When you think about it, yeah. Like this is what they've always wanted to do." To me, it was something that I fell in love with. you know.
It's really funny that your wife said that because my wife, unfortunately, had to be in the room for a lot of my swimming through this documentary over the last 2 days. And she did say to me, she said, did he like love wrestling like all these guys? I said, no, actually. She said, what was he, a basketball player? I said, yes. So it is identifiable to the third party that
Yeah.
there is a bit of a difference between you and how these guys talk. But I want to say one thing that you mentioned. You said I wouldn't drop it in Detroit, and you did bring up Warrior. But if the time constraint was what it was for there, if you're leaving for WCW tomorrow night, Monday, and I have you Sunday night, and I got to get this done Sunday night, you would understand that it had to happen
Oh yeah.
in Detroit, because that's where we are.
Oh
We've been
yeah,
booked there
yeah.
for
Okay.
5 months.
I'll do it.
Right. All right. So it was just weird to me that Brett thought it should go any other way. And Brett always leans on, I missed only one show in 20 years. I get that. He was superb. He was a superb
No,
employee.
but I think that I think there was another, maybe the night, next night they weren't in Canada. I don't know. I'm
I don't know.
sure
I can't remember where Raw was the
that
following night, but
usually
that was Monday Nitro. You could show up there with the belt. Need that belt back Sunday night.
yeah. I'm not going to say I don't see Vince's point, and I think Brett is pissed off at himself for not, you know, thinking that they were capable of pulling something like that.
Yeah.
It's put it this way. You know what, man? I thought for the longest time when it first went down and Brett came in, I thought it was absolute work. That because I never saw Vince sell before, and Vince came during that documentary. They show him where he's taking that shot and he's kind of
Hmm.
wobbly walking up the hallway. And I said, man, I said if that was a shoot, Vince that would never air on any. You'd never see that footage again.
Kevin, I've said this for a long time. And when we were shooting Timeline with Brett, I knew we were covering 1992, so this wasn't going to come up. But I knew during a break when we were having dinner, there was no way in the face of everyone in the room that I work with that I couldn't say this to Brett when I had him face to face. So I did. And I gave my reasons. I said, Brett, you can think I'm off the wall. I said, but I think if you listen to the reasons behind this, you'll understand. I said, have you ever seen a bell ring in a title change where the first cut on the camera was to the loser's face in a close-up to catch your reaction to having heard that bell? If anyone in the truck didn't know it was going to happen, they would have cut to the winner, Sean, triumphant. Not you. Why did we need to see the anger and confusion in your face on TV? First. Second, what a perfect way this plays out. You get to go. You don't have the belt. You didn't drop it. You didn't want to drop it. You weren't going to drop it. You got screwed. Wasn't your fault. The character of Mr. McMahon, who screwed Brett, who everyone loved, is born out of this. And just so happens, you got cameras backstage making a documentary. Crazy. I mean, that all lines up, Kev.
Like I said, it's not cut and dry to me.
Yeah. He nodded his head and he went, huh, okay. That was it. There was no
But
discussion. But I had to say it to his face.
to me, if you've been doing something for that long, you've been working the people that long, why would you possibly give up that work?
What do you mean?
Why would you? Why now? Go. You're right.
Oh, no, but to me, you mean?
To anybody.
Yeah, but I mean, he could have argued against it and said, "You're fucking crazy. You've never been a wrestler." Like all the fans
No,
say, you can't talk about wrestling unless you've been a wrestler.
no.
Can't talk about movies unless you've been a director. Ace Ramon. Can Brett be funny? I remember seeing Sean make him laugh on his show and thought that was nice. We did have a laugh about some stuff. I forget what it was.
Brett's got a great sense of humor.
He's just dry.
Brett's funny as fuck, man.
Hmm.
I love Bret.
Yeah, he's just got a dry sense of humor.
But he ain't
Has.
afraid to laugh. I mean,
What else we got? Who else is here?
I'll tell a great story. I don't
Go
know if
ahead. Let's get a good
I've
Brett
ever told.
story.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever told this story before. So it's me, Brett, and his wife now, Stephanie, and we're in a hotel room, and Brett and I decide we're going to get stoned. So we got a joint. We're passing this joint back and forth, and I mean, just the room is just Cheech and Chong smoked out. All of a sudden, the fucking fire alarm goes off in the room, and we've old schooled it with the towel and the fucking
Yeah.
white tape, or we've done the 1990 how we used to do that in my dorm room at University of Tennessee. In the athletic dormitory, you have the bottom vent have a piece of cardboard duct tape to that, and then duct tape all the way around the room, and then get in there and just have a smoke out. But so it went off. So, and I mean, I'm fucking baked out of my mind. So I I asked him if he has any, because Brett uses shaving cream. Like he has, he's shaved.
Hmm.
So he says, "Yeah, I got shaving cream." I said, "Give me that. I'll muddle it with this fucking shaving cream." So I spray this shaving cream into this fucking thing, and it doesn't take any of the noise out. So now it's it's going, and we're
You sprayed
like
shaving cream into the alarm.
into the thing that's gonna that's but it's the whole fucking there's you
Because you
know
thought that would tamp the sound down a little. You
I
were
think
fucked up. I get it.
yeah, I thought that would fucking shut this fucking thing. Give me some.
Not put the pillow over it. Shoot some shaving cream into it.
Well, the fucking pillow wasn't gonna stay. I wasn't gonna fucking. Like I said, there's a
You
15-minute
stand for
rule.
15. Guy, I was just going to say that, motherfucker.
Yeah, 15 minutes. If I can sit down, I can't reach it. So there's a knock on the door, and it's like the two fucking guys with the sports coats that are too big for them. They're coming up to check, and I mean the fucking it's. I'm stoned as fuck, and I can smell weed. So that they can smell weed probably on the whole floor. And the guy walks in the room, and he looks on the side, and there's this shaving cream blob on the side of this thing. And he looks at it. I know he's thinking like, what the? And he looks and registers who's in the room, and then he fucking gets on his walkie-talkie, says something. The fucking sound stops, and they just exit the room. He shut the door. We sit down, and Brett looks at me and goes, "What the fuck were you thinking?" Because now here we are, situation's over, and he's got this fucking, you know, turban of shaving cream stuck in the side of his room. So every time we saw each other after that, we'd always make some reference for like a couple of years of, hey, because when back when you couldn't smoke in the WWE, um, there were times you knew if you were going into a country that didn't speak English that you could like if you were especially if you were going into like going from the UK and then going to Austria and Germany and maybe like Switzerland or something like that. Like maybe you had like a shot there and you were flying back out from there. They
Mm-hmm.
would never piss you in a country that didn't speak English. But if you went out and came back through England, they were going to piss you. So Brett and I were, I think we I don't know if we went together or we just ran into each other at like this giant um, like discotheque, And I want to think it was in maybe Zurich, or maybe it was in. Was in I just remember everybody like being kind of blonde and
Aryan looking.
like I felt like I was at an ABBA
Hmm.
concert or something. And Brett and I copped some hash, but it was rolled in tobacco, and we smoked it in the club. And I remember that when we left there, um, we didn't know whether we were stoned, had sore throats, or if it was the tobacco, because tobacco will give you a buzz too. And but Brett always called the smoke, he called it the cannabis Murray. So
Murray.
you'd run if you ran into Brett, and he'd say, "Hey, you guys don't know it or not, man, but Murray's in town." We'd be, "Oh, really? Is he gonna be at the show tonight?" No, but
He'll be there after.
yeah, he'll be after. Like, okay.
Bring your shaving cream.
So yeah, that was my stupid. God, we were stoned too. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
I would have loved just you to try to offer an explanation. When the dude walked in and looked up at the thing
Brett
and
just looked
saw
at the
the,
way. I wasn't so much. It wasn't so much the look from the guy. It was just the look from Brett of like, what the fuck were you thinking? I'm like, that didn't play out right. So